So welcome again to the Sober Anglican or anyone. In my previous video I took a look at 5 things which have surprised me in 5 years sober, but in this one I want to take a look at 5 things which quite frankly didn't surprise me in five years of sobriety. So here goes with the first one. The first thing is when I went sober I didn't have hangovers anymore. Now hangovers are terrible things to experience, aren't they? I mean, you feel really bad when you have a hangover, but you know what? They're God's gift to save your life, because when you have a terrible hangover and you wake up in the morning with a thumping headache, or you feel sick and you puke up and you feel absolutely terrible, that's your body's way of getting rid of a poison from within you before it actually kills you. But the good news is, when you stop drinking, you won't have any hangovers. It's not a surprise really, is it? That was number one. Something else which didn't surprise me is that, as with many problem drinkers, I'd been thinking about giving up drinking for a very long while. That's a whole other story. But I kind of knew that it would be good for my health. So number two, second thing which didn't surprise me in sobriety, is that my blood pressure went down. And this is a very common thing which people who give up drink experience. If you stop drinking, your blood pressure will reduce, and that makes you feel good. It's a good health outcome from leaving behind problem drinking in your life. And while we're on the subject, third thing, which was no surprise to me when I actually did stop drinking, permanently 5 years ago, I had periods of moderation before. In fact, one of those periods was as long as 6 months. So again, it was no surprise that when I finally got my head round, had a really good mindset change and entered solid sobriety, for want of a better way of putting it, 5 years ago, it was no surprise at all that I lost weight. I think on the whole, I probably knocked off maybe nearly 2 stone just because I stopped drinking. It's a great outcome. It's not really a surprising one, is it? And then I think this is the fourth thing, isn't it? It's no surprise when you stop drinking that you will have more money to spend. I'll probably do a whole video on what I actually spent that money on, but there is a massive no booze bounce back dividend. You will have funds that you didn't have before in your wallet, in your bank account, which you can now use for other things, and it's great, and it can be quite a bit of money. I mean, for example, one of the things that I've taken up since stopping drinking is paddleboarding. Paddleboarding is not the most expensive sport in the world to take up. I didn't go out and buy a yacht or anything, but paddleboards are not free, and I was able to go out and afford to get a paddleboard and go paddleboarding because I had some extra money from stopping drinking, and indeed I've been able to have extra money to spend on other things too. And then finally, just for number 5, something which again was no surprise to me when I stopped drinking, was that my relationship with my wife improved enormously. In fact, when you stop problem drinking, every relationship in your life will improve. Whether you're talking about your relationship with your wife, your children, your friends, your loved ones, with your employer, with anyone you meet really. If you take problem drinking out of the equation of human relationships, then those human relationships run longer, they work better, they work with a whole lot less stress and hassle. So there we go, 5 things which did not surprise me, which have not surprised me, but they're brilliant things, aren't they, in 5 years of sobriety. No hangovers, lower blood pressure, my weight's gone down, I've got a little bit more money, and number 5, my relationship, especially with my lovely wife, has improved beyond recognition. It was pretty good before, and considering that I was in a terrible state with my drinking, and she was so lovely throughout all of that, and then it went even better in sobriety. Anyway, that's just a few thoughts. I think up next I might actually do 5 more things which did surprised me in sobriety. I've already done the previous one, so it'll be 5 extra things in the next one. Anyway, hope you enjoyed that. If you're with me on this subject, or if you're sober curious, please can I encourage you to subscribe, hit the notification button. I'm in this because I want to share my sober story, because I really believe that sharing about sobriety helps to save lives. Some lovely sober heroes have shared their sobriety stories with me, and they definitely helped to save my life. So, as I say, sharing saves lives. Anyway, thank you for joining, and I'll see you again in another video. God bless.